why on this episode, the interviewer gets interviewed. Who does that? Only Kamal does. But anyways, it's been an amazing episode and I really cannot wait for you to see this one.
I feel great after the Open Heart podcast. I feel like 100 kg has been lifted off me. I can't wait for you to see this one.
So this episode of Open Hearts is very different. And I say different because having experienced grief again and shooting right at the same time or the same day is really wild. Because the early hours of this morning, our friend, mine and the person, my guest who I haven't unveiled yet, happened to pass at the early hours of this morning, and I'm talking about Yusuf Ishaq Yakubu. And he is a very amazing young man. But you see, these are the days that you don't get to have all the answers. You question life all over again. You question so many things all over again. And this episode is dedicated to him, I'd say. But not just that, we're also turning the tables today because not just one person gets to ask the question as we normally will do every single episode, but two of us are holding space for each other, cross-examining and unpeeling the layers and also daring to ask the questions we're often too afraid to ask ourselves. I find myself asking too many questions ever since this entire episode started, especially because you're wondering if you're doing this entire podcast thing just to mask your grief or you actually are concerned about healing. But this is not just our space or this is not just our story, it's yours too. So take a deep breath as we will right now. Open your heart and lean in with us. So, welcome to episode number 4.
Thank you so much, Martha. It's amazing to be here.
Let me ask you, how do you feel? Because, I made mention of Ishaq, and Ishaq is just an acquaintance because, again, I met Ishaq through you.
Yeah.
And haven't just come from burying that person right now and sitting in a grief episode. We didn't know it was going to happen like that. We had already scheduled, the entire episode before it happened. But, I wanted to call it cancel because I know that there was going to be like a lot of weight on you. But you said, let's get ahead with it. So how do you feel?
I feel good because over time that I have experienced grief, I've come to learn that part of the way to get better, part of the way to get the load off your head is to honor the memories of lost ones. Mm-hmm. And while it hurts so bad, this platform gives me an opportunity, especially given the first 3 episodes and how robust the conversation went and how amazing it is. It feels good to know that I could start grieving and start shedding the weight off almost immediately.
So as always, we have this little pledge that we do here, or oath as you'd like to call it. Why are you smiling? You have seen it in previous episodes.
Yeah, I did. I heard Iha Nacho.
Okay. So I think it kind of eases you into the mood.
Yeah.
I don't know, but do you think you could take that for us?
Yeah, I will.
All right. Says today I open my heart.
Today I open my heart.
Stop being dramatic. Okay, to truth.
To truth.
To tenderness.
To tenderness.
To parts of me still healing.
To part of me still healing.
I honor my grief and the grief of others.
I honor my grief and the grief of others.
I choose courage over silence.
I choose courage over silence.
Presence over perfection.
Presence over perfection.
In this space, I am safe to feel.
In this space, I am safe to feel.
To remember.
To remember.
To speak.
To speak.
To grow.
To grow.
And as I share, I hope someone else.
And as I share, I hope someone else.
Will feel less alone.
Will feel less alone.
This is my truth.
This is my truth.
This is my offering.
This is my offer.
This is my open heart.
This is my open heart.
You're acting like I'm swearing into a political office. But anyways, thank you so much for taking that one with us. So let me ask, What was your first real encounter with grief?
My first real encounter has to be the loss of my grandma, my paternal grandma. She was the only grandparent I met, and she was so there to me. I remember back in the days when I was a kid, whenever it was I was given pocket money to take to school, I'd save all of that money under a carpet, under a rug. And whenever it is my parents were going to the village, I would give them some cash to help me get stuff like sugar, the boxes of sugar, matches, and she loved them so much. We had a real connection. She had nicknames for me. She cared so much, and losing her really hurt.
Okay, so that was your first real experience.
Yeah,
So after that,
prior to then, it was really soft as a kid. I started out a happy child, but next to that was my elder brother. My elder brother taught me everything I know. If you know me, part of the things that defined me includes basketball, includes writing, includes even some of my favorite things to do, adventures, the kind of music I listen to, Yanni, the jazz, Eminem, all got introduced to me by my elder brother. Unfortunately, we lost him playing the game we both loved the most, basketball. One of the days he went to play, he fell, hit his head so hard on the floor. He couldn't weather the storm. That really hurt me so bad. It really changed my life.
And you kept playing?
I got to realize that I had little or no options. One of the ways I felt like I could honor that loss, I could grieve properly, was to honor them by doing the things that they loved the most. And that's the situation with my dad, with my brother, right? And in fact, those things he introduced me to were mainstays in my life. I didn't know how to cope with a lot of things prior. I was born an introvert. I was suffering the loss of my grandma and uncle also at about those periods, right? And there were just a lot of things happening in my life as an adolescent, as a teenager. There were a lot of life-changing scenarios I couldn't really have answers to. He paid attention to them critically and introduced me to the sport basketball. He felt like it was an emotional sport. It was an expressive platform, and really it was. I grew bolder playing the sport. I met family and I got a bit expressive. So I didn't know how to stop, in all honesty, even though that went against my parents and immediate family wishes.
Did you meet Shaq, now of blessed memory, playing basketball as well?
Yeah, so my first encounter with Shaq was after I lost my elder brother. Prior to meeting him, my dad and my elder brother was so fond of him. He was his own very brother. They shared moments, they shared memories, even on court. They played as a team, and you won't see Shaq without Kobe. Kobe, maybe my elder brother then. They were always together. They loved each other's company. They will have plans about life generally together, and they shared interest. So my elder brother would always mention, when he comes back home, if you're getting him anything, that's my parents. He would usually mention to them, how about Shaq? And they will always provide. So my first meeting with Shaq had to be my university years. So my elder brother graduated while Shaq was still in school. So when I resumed school, and I met someone who knew me back from home, and then he said, "This Abdul's brother." Shaq was amazed, and he was like, Kamal has grown this big. I've seen your pictures too. And he hugged me, he gripped me so hard. And since then, he took me as his own. We would practice together, we would go to eat together. It was a dog eat dog situation in basketball court back then in the university, but he was protective of me. He ensured that bullies never came my way.
Close to you.
Yeah.
All right. What's one experience throughout this season that you probably have never told anyone about or you've never shared? You said this episode is about cross-examining and laying bare. So let's start with you.
Yeah. One experience has to be with my dad, even though it wasn't a mention. I feel like this is something that I've kept with me for the longest.
Okay.
And it kept me grieving for the longest. So because of the oath I took and because of how
it was intentional.
Yeah, because of what this podcast means to me, because I understand what it does to the heart. And just as you have seen, I've watched basically all the episodes and I know how it has helped me. I feel like revealing this will help greatly.
A lot of people too.
A lot of people too.
Thank you.
It happened on the day I lost my dad.
Okay.
It was the COVID period, so people were quite careful.
Was it COVID?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
He had issues with his kidney. He had a transplant. He survived it for quite some time, but he couldn't weather the storm, just coincidentally during the COVID period.
Yeah.
But with that pandemic meant people were more careful.
Yeah.
People were more cautious. And so I bathed him with my hands when it was time to bury him. Because I didn't even want to think people would take the back seat for my dad and even feel like, okay, they don't want to. So I handled everything just on my own. While I was sinking him into the hole, before then someone spoke to my ears. I don't even know who, but then said I should hold his head and pray for him.
Okay.
Which I did just while I was praying for him. Now nobody even knows this, and I've kept it a secret with me all my years. To my family that would say it, forgive me in advance.
Well, we're lucky.
So as I held his head, and after praying for him, just as I was about to leave the head, I felt a deep sigh, a deep breath.
From him?
Yes.
Wow.
That moment, a lot of things ran through my head. Am I going crazy? Is this just my mind? Is it just because of the whole situation? And then there were a whole lot of people. I was in the hole while people were all around. When I raised my head, everybody. And I didn't want to create a scene. I didn't know what was best to do. I kept it to myself.
How many years?
Well, 2020.
Wow.
It's 5 years now.
5 years on.
Yeah. So while I watched everybody watch us down the hole, I was wondering, shouldn't I say? While they poured the soil on him, kept on wondering, is it possible he's alive? I lived with it for the longest. I felt like it would have been different.
Different how?
What if?
He's still alive.
Yeah.
Okay. What if?
I mean, so that I lived with it. I beat myself up a lot more after the whole situation. Sometimes I dreamt that he was still alive and maybe he dug up and came back to life. So there were this moment running through my mind, and at the same time I had to pretend nothing happened and I needed to be strong. So I wasn't showing any sign of weakness, but I mean...
wow, that's a lot of load to carry.
I mean, this is the first time I'm saying it out.
Do you feel better?
I feel better. I feel like, I mean, it's off my chest. I don't know how every other person is going to feel watching it, but it feels a lot better that it's off my chest.
I'm glad you feel better.
Yeah. So,
I saw it coming. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me brace myself. All right.
Do you remember the first time it hit you that your life has changed forever?
There were lots of episodes before my mom passed. And episodes, I don't mean she wasn't sick at all, right? A lot of people have asked, oh, how did she die? What was wrong with her? She was never sick. As a matter of fact, we had done everything we could do, humanly possible, to make sure that she was okay. So we had run all the checks. We do that from the start of the year. We do like almost 3 times every year. We had done that for the last part of the year, which was on the 27th, I think, of December. And then she died on the 9th of January. So what could have gone wrong between 9 whole days or so, 9 to 10 whole days? What would have probably gone wrong before that time? But you see, the first time it hit me that my life had changed forever was, so there's supposed to be a name on the card, the more card. So I don't know, somehow my brother-in-law told me my name was on the card, which meant that for everyone who was going to the morgue to visit my mom, I had to be there because they were not going to let anybody go in there if I wasn't there. That's what I was told. And in the morning, when they had done, because at night, immediately she passed, they would do the last office and then they take her in the mortuary and then they keep her not inside the morgue because, I mean, they're still going to wait till, maybe miracles will happen. But the next day, we made our way to the morgue because obviously people wanted to see her. And we made our way to the morgue. When we got there, I saw over 300 bodies. 300 bodies. Some were completely dry.
I don't think I ever saw that much.
Some of the bodies had shrunk because no one had come. Because I was asking, nobody came to claim the bodies. Some of them, they're dead, but they're gone as well. So some of them were forgotten. Some of them, like I was asking questions, over 300 of these bodies. And my mom's was just going to be there, just like everyone else. Standing there and hearing what those people had to say. I knew something just changed automatically. I knew I was never going to be the same person. Because I'm like, you must have lived a very full life. For some of them, they lived a full life. Maybe their family would be looking for them right now. Nobody knows that they're there. And it just stuck with me. And it was crazy because for years I could smell there. I remember living with one of my friends at the time, and anytime I just tell her, I could perceive it, and she prays for me. Sometimes she's like, please, you're scaring me and all of that. But I carried the memory of that place for a very long time. I still do, as a matter of fact, but that was the first time I knew that my life had changed. Something just clicked inside of me that I knew there was no going back now. So I pretty much don't take life really serious. I try as much as possible, not to disregard how I feel, because at the end of the day, you're going to die and people might never really care about you afterwards. So over to you.
Yeah.
Did you ever, throughout your journey, did you ever feel like you were pretending when you actually were not okay? Pretending to be okay when you were actually not okay?
Yeah. With all of my grief, but most especially the loss of my dad. Because after I lost my dad, I realized that responsibilities just came at me straight up. We're Africans, I mean, and
Absolutely.
the mantle lies on the next man of the family, even though it's silent most times, but there are expectations. And my dad, just like every African, would definitely, there were moments where he looked at me and then said, Kamal, you know what? You're not ready. And that he meant by how I handled my emotions, how I was able to shoulder certain things, I was able to curtail certain things. And I knew better, especially when he was gone, because I loved him so much, to honor him with that one thing, to appear strong, to appear ready. And so I found myself pretending not to be grieving, putting a front to be grieving, even though I was grieving right in. I will act strong. My mom saw through her. So there's an Islamic stain for a widow when she loses her husband. It's called takaba in Arabic, where they stay for quite some time before they can then go back into the society.
How long?
3 months, I think.
3 months.
Yeah, 100 days, something like that. So I was with her all through. While my sister went back to work, I was with her, and I tried to ensure that she was fine before I could get back to everything. And even with my sisters around, I just felt like I shouldn't show any sort of weakness or emotions. Weakness in quote, because that's what people call it. But in reality, it's just emotions. And you being emotional about situations like that is just proof that you're human. But I held it for long. When did I realize I was pretending? After I left my mom, after I left the family house and I went on my own, 6 months after, I was on the couch and I was imagining a lot of things that I have to do. And memories of my dad came. For the first time, I found myself weeping. That was when I knew I didn't grieve properly.
Okay, let's talk about now. Are you healing? Are you healed? Are you healing? What's your journey or what's your process like right now?
Quite unfortunately, life happens. Life is a roller coaster. Just at the moment where you feel like you have overcome a situation, another befalls. We could say God forbid to all of these things, but in reality, we are born to this life to live this life. And live, I mean live, because we are mortals, not immortals. So one way or the other, after my first grief, I experienced another grief just when I thought I'm getting over it. And then after another grief, I feel like I have. The last time, I told you I lost my neighbor, and then my uncle, who happens to be my guardian, I think on 21st of August.
Yeah, I remember.
Makes it a year, right? So it's barely a year losing someone that close to me. Now I'm losing someone else who happens to be a mainstay in my life.
Wow.
So will you say
you haven't rested?
Really overcome grief? Yeah. So what I know how to do better now is that's cope with grief.
Thing. Yeah.
Right? So I know better how to cope. I know very well to be vulnerable. I find myself talking about situations and getting teary, and I never stop the tears. Contrary to what society would think of it, I tear when I have to. And in trying to cope with grief, I found the best ways to cope with them. A lot of times I try to arrange their belongings that I still have in my possession. Sometimes I go through pictures. I go through basically write-ups, their media pages. And sometimes I just go on random walks while I think about them. I feel relieved in knowing the kind of life that they lived. Now I know better also how to live, because only when you have memories that they will save you on your darkest of days.
Wow. This is deep. But yeah, It's important. I like the fact that you know that you're now in better control of your emotions, because I feel like the reason a lot of people never really make it out of these situations, they live in denial for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's not done, it's not done. Something can be done, they're going to get better, they're going to get up. And, this makes some people um, leave the bodies of their loved ones for a very long time.
Yeah.
I personally had nightmares where I believed that my mom was coming back. As a matter of fact, till date, I haven't dreamt of her as a dead person.
Yeah.
It's always someone who is alive, and so that sort of encourages me. I feel like, well, she's still around anyways. And what would she have? What would she do if she's in this situation? What would she have thought? What would she have said if she's in such a situation? And this, like you said, the memories that you have of them is what keeps you going on the days where you don't find strength at all.
So, if I may ask, yeah, there are occasions, there are situations that kind of, should I say, open up the wound?
Yeah.
You get to remember in deepest memories. When do you feel like is your next situation for such? I imagine mine actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot. So I want to hear from you if you really imagine that there are situations where you get to remember and wish your mom was here. And what scenario, what situation would that be?
The truth is, every single day. When I say this, a lot of people think that I'm being unrealistic. But every single day, if you come from a family that's like mine, closely knitted, and you have your mom basically involved in all of your life and everything, I say you would remember every day, because a little bit of insight on who she was to me. It's just like I've always been in events, I've always been hosting stuff, she picks the outfit with me, I go out there and she does not sleep until I get back. She wants to hear everything about it. So she's that involved. So every day when I remember that I didn't know how to cook stew that much, I remember every time I have to do that, I'm like, this woman has really abused me. She'll say, you don't know how to cook, just even leave it, and all of that. So anytime I get to do that, I always will remember what she said, how she says it. So it's a memory that you carry with you all the time. So it's not like you plan to remember, but something very small, sometimes very insignificant, just reminds you that this person could have been here, this person could have done this for you at this time. But the truth is, the difference between then and now is just like you said, it's just like you are now you have more control over your emotions, and you're emotionally intelligent, you're spiritually intelligent, so you know what to do at times like this.
So yeah, I really want to know what was that one thing that you did that really helped you heal.
It's funny that the interviewer has been interviewed, but we'll take it in good faith. Anyways, it was God.
Okay.
All through. That was the only way I knew how to cope. The truth is, there were days I didn't trust God. Because if you could let such a thing happen, and you just let it happen like that, I don't trust you. However, I was still in the faith. I was still going to church. I was still carrying out all my spiritual activities as I would, because I felt like that was the safest place to be. And honestly, it's the safest place to be. There are days when I would pray and I don't even know what I'm saying. I know that I'm praying, but I don't know what I'm saying. I didn't trust God, because I'm like, I don't trust you. You did that to me, so why do I need to trust you? But anyways, I'll remain with you because it's safer to be with you than to be outside, right? And that's pretty much the life I knew. I didn't know anything outside of that. So I prayed very often. My family, we were always together praying. And it was shortly after that we got into the COVID era. So we were all at home. We were all in each other's faces. So we prayed, we shared the scriptures. And, some scriptures are actually very comforting. There's this let me open that up. There's this particular one that I find very...
A verse?
Yeah, a verse. It's in Psalms 34. it talks about how God is close to the brokenhearted,
Mm.
and saves those who are crushed in spirit.
Mm.
He says God is close to the brokenhearted, is crushed, and He's close to those who are crushed in spirit.
Okay.
And there's this part of the scripture that says, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." It's something that I always will say. I'm in so much pain, but I know that you're close to me, and that's why I'm comforted anyways, because I know you're close. And then that uncertainty of, where is this person going to go to? Is she going to go to heaven? Is she going to go to hell? These are realities that you have to battle with every single day. You don't know what the fate of that person is, right? And then on one of those days where I was thinking, the scripture also says that the memory of the righteous is blessed, and it also talks about how when a person dies, their goodwill or the testimony of their good works go before them. So it's just like a testimony for them in the presence of God. And I was so happy when I learned that, because it just means that she was a really good person. And you could tell from the funeral, we had over 1,000 people. It became almost like a crusade. People even gave their life to Christ again. So I'm like, this should count for something, really. And so this comforted me over the years, because I feel like she's in a better place. I know she's in a better place. So that just gives me hope every time.
Just like you, I have a quote actually that I live by. I don't know if I forged it or I picked it up from somewhere.
If it works, it works anyways.
Yeah, but it's basically saying the world won't wait because you're in a bad place. It sounds very direct and very piercing, but it's actually true. Because at that very moment, I felt like there wasn't any meaning for life. Life had no meaning to me. And I saw myself just crashing. I couldn't really handle everything that was surrounded with. And I hated everybody for not seeing what I was going through. It was more like, I'm going through hell and all of you are going on with your business, right? But I was quick to realize that you owe it to yourself to grieve and to heal. And the moment you're able to do that, then you could go back to living your life. And living your life does not mean you forget your lost loved ones, but it also means that you will live a life better to honor them, to show love, to show compassion, to show kindness to people who are left. Because we all are on a time span, and because of how uncertain and how fickle life is, you have to ensure that you write your journey how you want it to be read.
Absolutely. So let me ask you, what did grief and pain teach you about yourself?
So this hard guy syndrome. You're a hard guy. I used to feel like I was hard. I was one of those people who felt like to cry was weak, to be weak. I was one of those guys who felt like you shouldn't show your emotions openly. I was one of those guys who felt like to be vulnerable was to show weakness. But here I am at my most vulnerable state. Maybe not tearing up yet.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I could still tear up.
Love it.
Yeah. But I found myself crying even in rooms where there were people that I would have never done. It taught me that I was an emotional being.
Person. We're all emotional beings. And the greatest lesson I think I learned about myself is the fact that I can do anything.
Yeah.
After that period, it was just like a spark of the bulb that this life is too fragile for you to sit around waiting for things to happen for you. How about you happen to life too? And then I started to dream big things. I started to envision myself in patterns I never will have done. So I just learned that there's no limit to you as a person. The only limit to your life and to your abilities is what you say it is what you put as a limit. Now, maybe a few years ago when I was in that emotional distress, I probably would have never thought about life the way that I think about it right now.
Indeed.
And I'm still grateful for the entire process because I was broken. Broken because I saw the transition of this person. This person was alive, and then they say the person is dead, and then they do the last office, which is one of the most traumatizing things you would see, where they embalm the thumb and then the toes as well, and then put that person. So every day I visited the morgue, there was a change in appearance. And I'm like, all this care for what? All these things that we care so much about for what? At the end of the day, he ends here and he ends like this. People might never ever remember who you truly were. Only the people that shared a close relationship with you. So I learned that we die the day that we close out on possibilities.
Indeed.
We die the day that we stop thinking about possibilities.
I saved the question for us.
Ah.
For both of us to answer.
Okay.
Because you told me it was going to be a different episode. But will you permit me? Because I saved it somewhere on my phone so I could see it.
Yeah, you can.
All right. So let's
Why
check,
does it
let's
feel
check,
like a
let's
trap?
check, let's check.
Okay, let's see it.
I actually have 3, but I know I can only ask one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's hear it.
What's one thing grief took away from you and one thing it gave you?
Ha! It took so much away from me.
Yeah.
Sorry to the people who never met this soften, the cry baby Martha and all of that.
Yeah.
But it took so much vulnerability away from me. After that period, I went through so much alone. I went through almost everything alone. And times where you'd really crave human connection. People that you'd expect to be there for you as much as possible. And some people were there, when you'd expect a particular set of people to be there for you, even if the whole world is there for you and this set of people are not there.
You feel betrayed.
I just feel betrayed. It just feels like nobody was there for me and all of that. So it took away vulnerability from me. I don't make excuses. I became a perfectionist, I would say. And what it gave me, I craved excellence a bit more because I realized that how you lived and what you did, these are testimonies that will remain even after you're long gone.
Yes.
So I realized that early throughout my grieving experience, and I just have this unusual crave for excellence. I just want to be so good at what I do that you don't have to question whether or not I'm the right fit for it. So while it took a lot, I'm grateful for what it gave.
I guess it's my turn to answer.
Absolutely.
So one thing it took away from me is fear. Moments before I lost my dad. If you asked me what was my greatest fear, I'll tell you losing my dad. But after I lost my dad, I feared nothing, absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
What it gave to me, it gave me responsibility. Yeah. How to be more responsible, because I now know that I have a duty of care. I have a duty of presence, a duty of security, basically, and everything a man stands for. What did I also learn? I think I also learned a lot, actually. I learned a lot. Let's leave it at
a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is where we draw the curtain.
Sadly.
Thank you so much for sitting on our chair.
My pleasure. Will I be here again? It feels good.
It feels good.
I feel like I've shaded. It feels like I've shaded 50 kg of my weight.
Wow, that feels great. Actually, it feels good to hear.
So can I come back here? I think I still have 10.
We'll think about it. Right. You have 10 more kg.
Yeah.
We'll do that off the camera.
All right.
But it's good to know that you feel actually better. And that's the entire reason that we're here in the first place. Just so that you know that your feelings are very, very much validated. on air or off air.
So will you permit me to say one thing even though you're not going to give me another appearance? And I
No.
feel like 5 of the weight will be shedded.
That's blackmail, but anyways, you can.
From me to you, it's thank you to the Open Heart podcast. I mean, this is a remarkable platform. I never imagined I would be seated here and talking about my grief, especially the one I just revealed.
Should I give you? I was actually looking for a tissue box because I thought you'd be crying a river right now. But anyways,
I'm trying.
Because
I know the tissue is not there.
I'm proud of you.
Back.
You didn't cry.
Yeah.
Actually,
but I'm really honored to be here and to your dearest followers and listeners. I feel like this platform isn't just one to listen to, but it's one to love and to also feel very vulnerable out of and learn from every person's experience, because one way or the other, you might find a way to stay alive, to grieve, and to still have meaning and hope to life.
All right. Thank you so much. And just before we head out, I just want to remind everyone who is watching or listening or however this comes across to you that you are not alone. I know that the world tries to silence your pain many times and tries to make you feel like these are not conversations that you should have. I just want to remind you that if you feel like talking about it, please, by all means. Funny thing is, let me not share the funny thing, but anyways, it's important. And I'll leave you with Psalms. I like Psalms a lot because it was written by a person who came from a very broken place, right? And is Psalms 147 verses 3, and it says that he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wound. Your first resort to vulnerability is God, and then after God, you can speak to therapists and you can speak to man. But your first resort for healing, your first resort for completeness is God. So you just go tell him how you feel and feel better about it. Thank you for coming to episode 4. I feel really honored that you followed me on this journey again. Thank you so much. Honorable Kamal. This feels really official. Thank you so much. And see you again in the next episode. Bye.